Dr. James J.C. Cooley. That's right.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer.
Yeah. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and wow, we got an absolutely fantastic show coming your way today. And as you already know, we're celebrating Women's History Month, and we got these two absolutely outstanding guests that's going to talk about a lot of things that they are doing, and especially Laurie is going to talk about balloons and hearts and all the great things and the contest that she is in promoting Women's History Month. But I tell you what, before we even get started with that, I want to bring the radio in on this, and so with that we can go ahead on. So, hey, Todd, let's do it.
That's right. It's the show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. It's your life. That's right. Dr. James.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And I tell you what, we got an absolutely fantastic show coming your way today. We got one of the most favorite persons in the world is going to be on the show. We're talking about the Honorable Laurie Edwards-Tate. Michelle, don't get mad at me. I couldn't help it. I had to do it. I had to. But we got an absolutely fantastic show. And I tell you what, whichever platform that you're watching us on, whether it's E360 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, and over 84 other platforms, welcome to the show. If you want to be part of the conversation, a couple of ways you can do that. Whichever platform that you're watching us on, you can just go to that platform, ask any question that in the comments, any question that you have. We promise you'll get your answer. Or you can pick up the phone and call Todd in the studio, AM 1170 The answer, AM 660, the answer at 1-888-344-1170. Let me say that one more time. That's 1-888-344-1170. Michelle, how are you doing today?
I am doing great today. Important topic we're going to talk about, so I'm ready to get started with this amazing guest.
Well, I tell you what, why don't you introduce the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce these two absolutely fantastic guests.
Most definitely. So the title of today's show, celebrating Women's History Month, is called Hearts in Bloom, Paving the Way for Women's Heart Health. And we're having a sit-down conversation with Laurie Edwards-Tate. She's a 2025 Women of Impact Nominee, President, Founder, and CEO of both a nonprofit and currently for-profit non-medical home care aid organization called At Your Home Familycare. She's going to talk about her nomination as a 2025 Women of Impact, how it impacts the American Heart Association in the GoRed effort. Red, Hearts in Bloom fundraising event coming up, the importance of the American Heart Association, and we're going to have a discussion with a heart transplant survivor, Laura Vargas. So, since 1984, Laurie Edwards-Tate has been the president, founder, CEO of a home care aid organization called At Your Home Familycare. It's a state of California Department of Social Services licensed home care organization that currently serves seniors, disabled, infirm, and children, and holds contracts with a variety of governmental and nonprofit community partners. Laurie holds a Master's of Science in Human Resource Management and Organizational Development from Chapman University and a Life Credentialed Community College instructor. She established a home care aid training program at Cal State University College of Extended Studies. She's also a founding member of Chapman University's local advisory council. You know what? This is going to be an amazing conversation. So we're going to welcome back Laurie Edwards-Tate.
There's a reason I love this show. You have a way of making people just so grateful they're actually on your show.
Wow. Laurie, it's been a while since you've been on the show, but you've been doing so many great things with your business and also in the communities and also as a public servant. So can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about you? Where you were born and raised, what made you click, and why you're so passionate about yourself and the things that you're doing right now?
Well, you said it best with It's Your Life. And that's really what it boils down to, is that it is your life. And what are you going to do with it? And I've made choices along the way, very motivated by the experience of having a father who had a military-related injury and overcame it with resilience. It was different growing up, and you had a different kind of perspective and, one's own personal challenges. And I just have always had a sense since I was very young about people, and that even if we're in a grocery store, for example, and we see people, choosing oranges and apples. What we don't see is what's inside them. And what we don't know is what they're going through. And I had that sense very young. So I think it really directed me in the direction where I am today. I'm excited about where I'm going to be tomorrow. And right now, my biggest and newest is this wonderful opportunity as a woman of impact, which is a tremendous honor.
Wow. It is a tremendous honor, and you deserve it because you are making an impact. So Laura, you wear so many hats. Yeah. And sometimes we wear a lot of hats. We really don't know our true purpose. How do you go about identifying what's important? Because, not what's important, everything is important, but where you put most of your time in to make sure that the world is a better place?
That's a really compelling question. I don't know if I have a good answer for that. I think that where I feel I am supposed to be, I go. Where it fits within the scope of what I think is making a difference in the lives of other people. I have a real drive and desire to do that. And where I feel I'm working in a capacity that is in alignment with my own ethics and true beliefs.
Wow. You know, I always throw a wrench somewhere in there. If you had one adjective to best describe who you are, what would that adjective be and why?
That is a wrench. I can handle it. I just need a moment here. That's interesting. I come up with more than one word. That's my problem. I would say that I would like to consider myself unique. And unique meaning that I feel very centered in who and what I am. And I don't tend to go where I don't feel my mission and values in life are in alignment. I care more about staying true to what I feel I am and what I believe than the influence of other people or things outside me.
Absolutely. Unique that's a very good adjective. So let's discuss nomination 2025 Women of Impact.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell our audience and viewers exactly what does that mean and what does it entail?
Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, if I may, I would like to thank your viewers and listeners, because it tells me that if you're here today and sharing this with us today, that you care about women's health, and you also care about the impacts of cardiovascular disease for other people. I'd like to start out with a quote, if I may. And we mentioned something about Bloom, and the name of an upcoming fundraiser is Hearts in Bloom. And I'm sure we'll be discussing how that all came about. But this is from Lady Bird Johnson. And I was just randomly going through things, and this really struck me. And I'd like to start the conversation with this. She said, "Where flowers bloom, so does hope." And I thought, how appropriate for this show today. Where flowers bloom, there is hope. And I believe that one of the reasons why I ended up moving forward with my nomination was from a really good friend of mine whose opinion I hold in high esteem. I talked with members of the American Heart Association. I had a meeting with them. I literally took 2 weeks to decide whether or not I had the time and the ability to follow through with the nomination and give it what I believe is deserved. So when you get back to the concept of blooming and where there is hope, I realized that I have been given a rare opportunity to have a voice, to bring issues forward, to have impact, to bring people together, and perhaps make a difference.
Wow. And that's what it's all about, is making a difference and being a personal impact, because you're not only just impacting one or two, but you're impacting many. And I believe that what you're doing and educating others on things, especially women, on things that they need to be thinking about in order to prevent heart disease or reduce the chances of dying. So I tell you, we're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We got a lot more Laura Edwards-Tate. And I tell you what, the Honorable Laura Edwards-Tate. So if you want to be part of the conversation, just go to the platform that you're watching us on. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life. We'll see you.
Let's go. It's the Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. JC Cooley. All right.
Hi, I'm Dr. out to Michelle Cooley. I've heard so many powerful stories from women who survived heart disease because they took action in time. But I've also heard stories of women who weren't as lucky. The difference? Awareness, access to care, and early intervention. According to the American Heart Association, every 80 seconds, a woman in the United States dies from cardiovascular disease. That's more than one life lost every single minute. But did you know that 80% of heart disease cases are preventable? That's right, 80%. That means small changes like eating healthier, exercising, and managing stress can save lives.
Hi, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm committed to making sure that more women survive and strive. Please join me in raising funds for the American Heart Association to support life-saving research, because every heartbeat is worth fighting for. In honor of Women's History Month, let's spread awareness and help women recognize the warning signs before it's too late.
It's pride we take in
Welcome to Veridian Christian University, where faith and learning come together to transform lives. At VCU, we believe that education is more than just academics. It's about fostering a community of growth, integrity, and purpose. Whether you're pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, VCU offers flexible, affordable, and 100% online degree programs that cater to your busy life. Our innovative platform provides a personalized learning experience, empowering you to thrive in today's ever-evolving world. Join a global community of learners guided by an experienced faculty who are committed to your success. With VCU, you're not just earning a degree, you're preparing for a future that integrates faith, leadership, and service. Veridian Christian University, educating with purpose, transforming lives. Learn more at VeridianChristianUniversity.com. VeridianChristianUniversity.com.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
By an experienced faculty who are committed to your success. With VCU, you're not just earning a degree, you're preparing for a future that integrates faith, leadership, and service. Veridian Christian University, educating with purpose, transforming lives. Learn more at VeridianChristianUniversity.com. VeridianChristianUniversity.com.
Check it out. It's your life with Dr. James Cooley.
Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to It's Your Life. And I tell you, this guest here is so fantastic, and I want everybody to support this cause. And Michelle, can you put the link in the chat so we can put it out there where people can just click on and just support this great organization, also the event that's on April the 1st. And Laura will be talking a little bit more about that one in a minute. But if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do, just go to the platform that you're on, the comments, ask any questions that you might have, or pick up the phone and dial 1-888-344-1170. I'm going to turn it over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, James. Laurie, so tell us about not only your nomination as a Women of Impact, but how that ties into the American Heart Association. And that's part A. And part B, tell us about the American Heart Association. I think everyone has heard of it, but what does the American Heart Association, its accomplishments, what has it accomplished in its existence in so many years?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to address those 2 points. First of all, the support to have an event, Hearts in Bloom, was totally unexpected, thanks to the Lincoln Club of San Diego County, with a lot of support and assistance from one of the board members, Matt Gardner, who has a business called Boardroom. And it's been quite unexpected, this type of support that's been given, including from the J.C. Cooley Foundation, and the ability to be here today. When you learn and you're out about this whole event was spectacular, the beating heart, brings it home. We all have one. It's not about age. It's not about ethnicity. It's not about background. And what's so wonderful about the Heart Association is the GoRed effort. I'm part of the Riverside, Southern California area. However, it's a national competition, but at the same time, it's a worldwide event. GoRed is worldwide in about 50 other countries.
Wow.
Well, what is exciting to me about that, what is exciting to me about that is that the ability to bring innumerable people together over the issue of health, how to take care of yourself, the fact that as we talked about, every 80 seconds a woman dies. Why is that? Why should it be that way? Well, I don't think it, quote unquote, should be that way, which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this. The other thing is 1 out of every 3 women dies from cardiovascular disease. And why is that? It's because of the nature of our bodies. We are the childbearers, and we end up being, in the main, not that men don't participate, many men do, but in caregiving. We have careers. We lose our resilience to heart disease, as we start to progress through life, and then through going through menopause change. So then we sometimes have aging parents. So it's as if the stress levels never really stop. The responsibilities never really stop. So being aware of that it takes its toll, being in a firm that provides in-home care for seniors, disabled, veterans, and persons with developmental disabilities, being part of the caregiving community in San Diego County, you learn very quickly about caregiver burnout. The impact on women is severe, or if a man is a primary caregiver, it shortens their life. It's a phenomenon. Now, one of the reasons why I moved forward with this nomination, besides recognizing the honor and the potential impact, is that 1 out of every 3 women dies from cardiovascular disease. And the Heart Association says, well, we can reduce that by 80% through our efforts, through our research, through our education. The Heart Association was established in 1924. And to think that back then, people had the concept of prevention, the concept of preventing disease is astounding to me. And to think it's taken so long to reach this point. The Heart Association is very broad in its scope and what it offers, which is one of the reasons why I also chose to move forward with it. They are huge advocates about smoking cessation, and they are also great advocates for bringing education, their platforms, to schools of all different levels for children. A big belief that if we can have young people involved in understanding about good nutrition and heart health and stress management, the importance of exercise, then we can build a future of healthy people where they're not suffering and they don't would not be subject to perhaps Alzheimer's disease, because so many things are connected. So in addition to that, they also are very involved in nutrition security and contribute, I know locally, some of the food banks, perhaps buying refrigeration and things along those lines to support the basic concept of nutrition, to feed our bodies well. Why is that significant? Because not everyone has access to that. And this is solving a very major, or helping to solve, contribute to the solution of a major problem for people who don't have the resources to get the advice about cardiovascular disease or have access to basic nutrition.
And Laurie, also, and you mentioned, besides exercise and nutrition, it all starts at the top. So if you're in a family where they mostly eat processed food, or takeout food. The lifestyles these days are different compared to when we grew up, where everything was, cooked from scratch, eat your vegetables and such. But times have changed, as you know, and I'm sure the American Heart Association is, educating women about these things that pose a risk to their heart health. What is the solution for, let's say, a single mother who works multiple jobs, and the fastest thing she can cook or get is fast food or processed food, and maybe not aware of how that is hurting her and then her children afterwards?
Well, that's the importance of the American Heart Association, because what you're talking about is so true. When it comes to single parenting, women really are in a bad place. They end up being statistically more poor than other women who have a different type of family structure, or burnout because they're working 2 jobs trying to support their children. That gets back to education and why it's so important to reach children at a young age. We're talking about the influence of families who have certain social mores or forays. Every family, every group has that. It's about having permission to say, it's okay to not do exactly what my mother said when it comes to this. Now that I know, it's up to me to take care of myself. Now, that's a really difficult issue. I know that, in my family, I mean, my mother's father they owned the only Swedish bakery in their small town. And, baked goods, things with sugar were very prevalent. And, for me to pull away from some things that were well-intended, but ultimately harmful was very difficult. But I did it. And we have to do that. It's okay for us to take care of ourselves. And I think it's very important that we do so. But another thing about the Heart Association that really impresses me, with the fact that, in terms of, my own involvement, it's part of the Riverside, San Diego County region, but this is a national competition. So money that is raised goes far. I'd like to mention something too, that the Heart Association this past year gave $30 million to San Diego for research dollars. Now, we also come back to, how did we get here after 100 years of being around? How is it that ever since inception in 1924, cardiovascular disease has been reduced by 50%? Thank you, American Heart Association. So I say, let's build on that. Let's get down to 25%. And then I say, let's do better. Let's eliminate it altogether. And that's what's so important about programs like this, about the GoRed initiative, because any of us who are nominees have the opportunity to step up and say, there is hope. The flowers are still blooming. There is hope. We can take responsibility for our health. We can receive tools from the American Heart Association, which will reprogram us and re-educate us in an appropriate way. Now, when I never paid attention to, some of the CPR type responses and defibrillators when, you go to a movie and sometimes a business will have one. Why do you think they're there? The American Heart Association. They have been so instrumental in doing so many things that are now part of our society. We don't even realize it was due to them. So they've raised billions and billions and billions of dollars over the years through donations, through programs like GoRed, through donors and people like this. So I feel really honored to be in a position where I may be able to, through this nomination, not only bring awareness, but bring dollars that I know are going to be used for very special purposes. Additionally, they work.
Hey, Laura,
yes.
Hold up. We got to take a station break.
Okay.
Well, we're going to come back. We're going to pick this up. This is extremely interesting. Plus, I'm going to post a link when we get back where people can go to the link, make donations to this absolutely worthy cause. So I tell you what, if you want to be part of the conversation, just go to the platform that you're on. I'll make it easy for you. Just pick up the phone and dial 1-888 344-1170. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
It's
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
Let's go. It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. All right.
Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by Dr. James Cooley on Amazon or wherever books are sold.
Now hear this. It's your life.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you what, we're having fun and getting educated for this. I tell you, this worthy cause. It's a Women's History Month. You already know that, but it should be Women's History Month every day, every single day. And what we're talking about here, we got Laurie Edwards-Tate, talking about heart. We talk hearts are blooms, and working with the American Heart Association. What she is trying to do, and you guys can help us out, is raise money for awareness, and so that we could help a lot of the women out, or at least educate them on some of the things that might help them to reduce heart disease, cardiac arrest. I'm talking everything dealing with that from a women's perspective. So we need your help. And Michelle, did you post that link? Well,
yes, I did. It's right here.
Okay.
Right there.
So that is the link. So I tell you what, in this segment, I want to bring on this lovely lady to talk about, and her name is Laura Vargas, to talk about her experiences as relate to what she went through and what she got the help from, and why she is pushing also with Laura to help educate women on women's health. So, hey, how you doing? How you doing, Laura?
I'm I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. I do want to thank you guys both for allowing me to be on the show today and talk about my story and the impact behind the American Heart Association and Laurie's message. And so myself and my heart fight with heart disease started very early on in my life. I was born with a rare form of what they call cardiomyopathy, which is called left ventricular non-compaction. And so I lived with heart disease pretty much my entire life until around 2015 when I decided to get pregnant with my son. I had my son at 22 years old, and I went into heart failure when I was 3 months postpartum with my son. And so some of the symptoms I experienced during going through heart failure as a heart patient was, hair loss. I experienced very extreme fatigue. Simple tasks, I had a 2-story home, and simple things like walking down the stairs in my home were very difficult and almost impossible. Walking in the store with a cart felt like I ran a marathon. And so those things that were normal things for me in my everyday life became almost nearly impossible. And so I really had to be a big advocate for myself. And so for me personally, with sharing my story, it's really to encourage people to be their own best advocate, to listen to their bodies, to fight for themselves, and to educate themselves and ask for the help that they need. I do think that that's ultimately what saved my life, is really standing up for myself and letting my cardiologist know that I felt really crummy and that I needed help. And so in doing that, I was able to get the proper care. I'm born and raised here in San Diego, California, and my husband was in the military for 14 years. And so at that time, I was in New York, all the way across the country, away from my family and my friends and my big support system. So that was a journey as well for me, getting back home and getting the proper treatment from my medical team, who was absolutely amazing, and spreading the message. I've been involved with the American Heart Association for 8 years now, and I've been able to really tell my story and share stories of people that share the same story as me, which is stories of hope, and really encourage people to take control of their life, and really spread the message about heart disease.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So you actually went through a lot of this, and you sharing your message for a lot of people that might be having some of the issues and symptoms,
Yes.
lack understanding.
Yeah.
Can you tell our viewers and our listeners a little bit about some of the symptoms that you was having when you figured it out, and when was the moment that you know that you had heart disease?
Yeah.
I know you mentioned at birth, but
Yeah. So I was born with heart disease. And so with having cardiomyopathy, my heart had to work, a lot harder than a normal heart would, because part of left ventricular non-compaction is the left ventricle of your heart. There's a stage in embryosis where your heart compacts the walls of your heart, allowing blood to flow and pump properly, and supply that to your body. And so the left ventricle is actually one of the most crucial parts of the heart, because that's what supplies the oxygen-rich blood to your brain and to your gut and your organs. And so unfortunately, I had a larger ventricle because it did not go through the compact process, and so it stayed enlarged. And so where blood was supposed to be flowing, that muscular tissue took up space. And so therefore my heart had to work twice as hard as a normal person, right, to pump the amount of blood that I needed to be able to do my day-to-day activities and have my organs function properly. And so mainly through my time of having heart disease, I would say I was very grateful. I didn't have a lot of difficult symptoms that other people may have had. I underwent almost no surgeries my whole entire life. I was on ECMO when I was born for about 3 weeks or so. And so that's become a really big life changer too. I know a lot of people got the opportunities to be on ECMO when they were struggling with COVID, because it is used for respiratory purposes. And so a lot of people were aware and kind of more educated about what ECMO was due to COVID-19. So I didn't have any symptoms that were contributors to heart failure until after I had my son, which were some of the symptoms I described, like my hair loss, I couldn't eat food, I was vomiting. And one of the biggest signs that I know is very common for women is pitting edema. And just to give you a little bit of background about what pitting edema is it is basically the buildup of fluid in your lower extremities. Mainly, we will see it in our legs, our feet. And so if you can push your finger into your foot and it stays with the imprint, that's called pitting edema. And so about 3 months after I had my son, I was cooking for Thanksgiving, preparing food for my family, and I had taken my boots off. I had boots on that day. It was cold, and I had noticed my feet were swollen. And so I was like, man, that's really kind of odd. I've never had that before. And so I decided to press, down on the swelling and discovered that I had pitting edema. And then slowly I started to get more of the symptoms, like the shortness of breath, the not being able to walk down the stairs, and just feeling really bad. And so I describe it to people, if I had to describe it as a feeling, it's almost like if someone knocked the wind out of you and it kind of stayed that way. That feeling of not being able to breathe is how it felt all the time. I would have to sleep sitting up. I couldn't lay down flat. And I would have to go to the emergency room, several times, probably a couple times a week, just for them to give me diuretics to take the fluid off. And then I felt better for a little while. And then a couple days would go by and I would go right back to having the pitting edema, and the fluid buildup. And so what happened was, because my heart went into failure, I lost perfusion to my gut, which didn't allow me to process food really anymore. Your body's a very smart vessel. And so when you're sick in that way, your body says, you know what? I understand you want and need all these organs, but I'm going to have to take away a little bit of what you really don't need, right? And you need your brain, you need your heart, you need your lungs. And so your body kind of starts from the ground up to say, hey, I'm going to have to take away a little bit of blood supply from your gut because that's not important. I want you to eat, but I need you to live. And so slowly I lost kind of functionality to some of my organs. And finally I was able to be hospitalized, and sure enough, I had my pressures in my heart checked and my ejection fraction, so the overall percentage of what my heart functions. The normal heart functionality is anywhere from 50 to 70%, and my heart was operating at a 6% level. And so I was very, very sick. And so I came back home to San Diego, and I received the life-changing gift of a heart transplant after getting on the heart transplant list on April 10th of 2016. And since then, I have been able to do a lot of amazing work with the American Heart Association. I was able to walk my first 5K with the American Heart Association. I was able to hike Cowles Mountain in San Diego for the first time in my life ever. And so I really do focus on giving back and also really being a catalyst for people who are young. And the reason being is because we don't fit the stigma of what heart disease and stroke looks like, right? People, I think, have the connotation that young people don't go through this. And it's simply not true. So I feel really compelled to share my story in that way and to really be an advocate for people who are young and moms and women. And so that's what I dedicate my time to now.
Wow. So you actually had a heart transplant.
I did. Yes. Yep.
Okay. We only got like a minute and a half before the break. But for folks out there, and you talked about a lot of the symptoms, in a minute or less, what would you recommend they look for?
Yeah, I think educating themselves is the biggest thing. Doing your research on what heart disease looks like and the symptoms behind heart disease. I think the common symptoms that a lot of people see is the shortness of breath, is the not being able to lay flat, is the swelling and pitting edema. And so sometimes you'll have back pain too as well. I had upper back pain, and it was a very dull, aching pain. So personally, those are some of the symptoms that I think are common symptoms. And those are definitely some of the symptoms. If someone's experiencing that, I would encourage them to get checked.
Wow. We're going to take a station break, but I want to come back and bring both of you all back on and talk about the joint venture that you all are doing with the American Heart Association and Women of Impact. So I tell you what, if you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching this on, ask any questions. I promise you we'll get to an answer. It's your life. And we'll see you shortly after the break.
It's your life. Your life.
At Viridian Christian University, we believe education is more than just a degree. It's a pathway to a purpose-driven life. Whether you're advancing your career, pursuing a passion, or building a new future, VCU's 100% online programs give you the flexibility to learn on your terms, anywhere, anytime. With expert faculty, personalized mentorship, and a faith-centered approach, you'll gain the skills, knowledge, and leadership you need to make a lasting impact. VCU offers bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees, each designed to empower you for success in today's fast-changing world. Join a global community of believers, learners, and leaders. Ready to start your journey? Viridian Christian University, transforming lives, empowering futures. Visit us at ViridianChristianUniversity.com. That's ViridianChristianUniversity.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Cooley. Heart disease research saves lives. It's that simple. Thanks to Heart Association, more women are surviving heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular diseases than ever before. But there's still so much work to do.
Hi, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and I'm raising funds to support life-saving research because every heartbeat is worth fighting for. In honor of Women's History Month, please join me in support of the American Heart Association and women's health.
Your life. Hey, it's your life.
Hello. Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And I tell you what, we all are getting the education here because it's so important. What we're talking about, hearts in bloom. Hearts in bloom. Mm-hmm. It's so important. And the American Heart Association is teaming with Laurie Edwards-Tate to raise funds for women awareness and also to help inspire others that we must take care of themselves. Hey, Todd, what are your thoughts on the show so far, man?
It is a great show. Your guests are very inspiring, and I love the work that they're doing. Let's get right back to them.
We'll get right back to it. But before we get back to them, I want to talk about this university called Viridian Christian University. Wow. Yes, I am the chancellor of the university. Yes. Well, we are accredited. We got 30 different degree programs. I mean, we got a bachelor's, master's, doctorate, and also honorary doctorate for people that are doing extraordinary work in the community and the world. And I tell you what, if you're looking for a school to further your education, go to ViridianChristianUniversity.com and look up all the different programs that we have. You know, not only are we inspiring people, but we also teaching the word, you know. So I took Viridian Christian University again, ViridianChristianUniversity.com. I want to get right back to this because Laura, you was explaining open heart surgery, the things that you went through. And wow, it's such inspiring to anyone that's watching the show. Mm-hmm. You know, so I want to pick it back up with that because we had to go to a station break, and then we're going to bring Laurie Tate back in as well. So can you finish explaining what people might want to look for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of the symptoms I would encourage people to look for is your main one is going to be shortness of breath, swelling in your lower extremities, dull aching back pain, and just feeling overall unwell. Things that may be normal in your day-to-day life, such as simple as walking down the stairs in your home or playing with your kids, doing simple things like that, going shopping at the store and feeling like you have to tripod over a cart. Those things are not normal things. And so it's really important for you to advocate for yourself, really educate yourself on what's going on with you and know your symptoms and get checked. It's unfortunate that heart screenings are not a part of physicals for young people, and I really hope that I get to see the day where it is normalized to be a part of a regular health screening. And ultimately, if I had one dream of doing this work, that's what it would be. And I only feel that way because I've experienced it. I have my son who's almost 10 years old, who I've been very lucky to be able to get him checked because of my personal history, but I want that for kids. I want that for young people, because you would be surprised how many people go into sports and strenuous activities, and things like that throughout school age times and ages.
And all of those things are so important, and for awareness of that, I want to bring Laurie back in.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the event on April the 1st. What would people, if you're in the area, the California, San Diego area, you might want to go there. What is expected out of that event that you all are having with the American Heart Association, and how can people get a better understanding of where it's at, and so that they can come as well?
Mhm. Well, I first want to thank Laura, if I may, for sharing her compelling story. I like the fact that you brought up the issue of age, because the secret that heart disease has. We talked about my work in, actually starting a Mended Hearts visitation program early in my career at a local hospital, where people who have experienced what you have will help others who are going through it, including surgery at the time, to share their stories and provide support. I would add that to the list of things I would like to see us do as well. But this is the thing. It affects all people, all ages, no matter what your income, no matter what your race or creed. It's a human issue. And it makes this very compelling in my why in terms of why I'm doing this. Now, I would like to thank the Lincoln Club of San Diego County for getting behind me so that we could offer the Hearts in Bloom fundraiser. And it was with one of the board members, Matt Gardner, along with two staff persons, the VP of Philanthropy for the American Heart Association. And we sat at the table together and said, what are we going to do? Well, Mr. Gardner secured Belmont Park, has a beautiful room venue, just ideal for fundraisers. It's going to be at Belmont Park. It's going to be free to the public. There's a variety of sponsors that you'll see on the invitations that go out, that are going through social media. Eventbrite, you can sign up there and join the fun. And it's going to be April 1st. And what happened was, I said, this is springtime. I hope this is going to be an annual event. Can we give it a name? So all of a sudden, everybody started thinking, and somebody came up with something relative to flowers because of springtime, and that evolved into Hearts in Bloom. And I really love that, because that's really what it is. When you think of blooming, you think of health, you think of fulfillment. And that's what we're trying to do for everyone's heart, is allow them, through our efforts, to be fully in bloom.
Wow. So is everybody invited?
It's open to the public, yes. And it's free. You just need to sign up on Eventbrite, or if you see we're promoting this through social media and a lot of venues like that, and you just sign up for a ticket. But it's free to the public. It's just incredible. We're going to have more stories like Laura's. The heart associations involved. They're going to be there too. We have a speaker. We have a couple of people who have been through, and they're gentlemen, as a matter of fact, either multiple surgeries or multiple cardiac arrests coming out of these things, which in some cases there was a stroke. So coming out of these things and realizing it's about human beings, it's about people across all spectrums. And what we want is to have programs like this. And also part of the donation process is so that we have the level of research that we need. Women's health has traditionally been underrepresented, period. And through this type of thing, through Laura's stories, through the work that we're doing, we can bring that forward and say, we need to do something about it, and this is the way.
Wow. This is so impactful and so educational. We got about a minute before we have to log off. Laura, what are 2 takeaways, real quickly, 30 seconds or less, that you want our viewers to get from this?
Well, I'm grateful for people like you to make this show possible and what you have done to spread the word and educate people. I am so grateful for people like Laura, who unfortunately had to go through so much, wants to share it for the benefit of other people. And I feel grateful to be a nominee so that hopefully, while I am a nominee, I can make a positive difference for everyone.
Okay, I want to thank you, both of you, so much for taking the time to come on the show. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another fantastic show. I'd like to thank my producers in San Diego and also in Dallas. They are the greatest. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. Always.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's right. James, JC, Cooley.